3 days, starting from today. We are at the Cannon House building. Many members of Congress are speaking. I want to share this event with you. Let's see.
So the innovative, the creative, people are just so bent on freedom, they got it. These people walk in the river, all these wonderful
They are discussing Trump agenda
parents or grandparents, great-grandparents.
domestically and
But
internationally.
what you do, been very strong in my elections. Fortunately, my last election was not as close as Maaloof. If it wasn't for all your hard work, my elections were never decided election time. So the last election was really nice. It was the first time that it wasn't decided. I didn't because our last election in 2018, we won by 57,000 votes, and then my opponent, Mark Elias, who went that lawyer, came down to 20, so we're going to win through the courts. So we went through 3 weeks of recounts. I was the first person, there's only 2 of us, Congress, one House Maaloof, and I are the only ones to ever beat Mark Elias. But it's actually because of what you did, we did 7,000 volunteers, busted their buttons to make sure we didn't lose the election. So I want to thank you for what you do. I'm a full service senator if you need something. Doesn't matter what state you're from, just let me know. If you need something for them, Rock here, have my telephone number, if you need a restaurant, hotel, we'll be here.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you very much. He has been a dear friend. We knocked on almost 1 million doors in Florida in 2018. When he got elected, when Ron DeSantis was narrowly elected governor, and how grateful are we that Andrew Gillum never got to be governor. Speaker Johnson has been called to the White House by the President. We are hoping that he's going to be able to come back. We are currently awaiting the arrival of Senator Lindsey Graham. He should be here momentarily. We have a very interesting situation in which the House is in votes and the Senate is in a classified briefing with the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, and the Director of National Intelligence. But they are all going to join us. And aren't you glad that we have this majority? What I really appreciate is every one of these speakers has said that without you and without faith and freedom, we would not be where we are today. And there is no question about it. We knocked on nearly 10 million doors. We will be going over some of the figures during the course of the weekend, but I can tell you this. In my home state of Georgia, 56% of all the Bible-believing, born-again Christians that we had modeled and identified on the voter file, and there were 1.85 million, roughly 1.85 million of those voters, 56% instead of knocking on the doors of everybody, Because, for example, my wife Joanne and I, we vote in every single election. How many of you can relate to that? You vote in every election. Okay? I vote in runoffs for school board. I don't miss an election. And I'll tell you why I don't miss an election. Because there are people who are lying in graves all over the world who paid the ultimate price and gave their life so that I would have that right. I am never going to take it for granted. And don't tell me that my vote doesn't matter. Don't tell me my vote doesn't count. George W. Bush was elected by 537 votes out of 106 million. Every vote can matter. I've seen governors and senators elected by 200 votes out of millions. So I voted every election. Most of you voted every election. But about a third of those identified, pre-qualified, born-again, Bible-believing Christians are what we refer to as low-propensity voters. They only vote in one or fewer of the last 3 elections. So they need an extra push. So prior to 2024, we were knocking on the doors of all the faith-based voters. We decided to take the volunteers and the paid staff, and we're talking about thousands and thousands of people. And instead of focusing on all the doors, we would direct the bulk of our resources to these low-propensity voters. So what we did is we knocked on their doors, and if they had not voted within 5 days, we went back. And when we knocked on their door, we said, I know we were just here 5 days ago, but we check the voter rolls every single night, which we do. We get from the Secretary of State
Lindsey Graham just arrived.
Data set that voted the previous day. And if they haven't voted, we go back and we said, we've been following you, we've been tracking you, you have not yet voted. So I apologize for coming back, but I'm just doing my job, and you need to know that if you don't vote early, I gotta keep coming back every 5 days until you vote. And Senator, in the battleground state, not the total by election day, the total in the early vote in every single battleground state was hundreds and hundreds of thousands of more Christians voted early. Including in Georgia, and we're going to give you the figures from the other states. I'm just telling you Georgia today. 156,000 of them who voted early, who didn't even bother to vote in either 2016 or 2020. Wow is right. In a state that Donald Trump carried by only 118,000 votes. So, look, victory has 1,000 fathers, right? But without this effort, and hear me, Kamala Harris would be sitting down at the president's desk. Woo! And not Donald Trump. And do you think she would have ever had the guts to do what needed to be done to take out Iran's nuclear program?
No!
Not a chance.
Not at all.
So our next speaker is here, and I am very glad you're here, because I can only filibuster for so long. I'm not a senator. I'm glad I got to sit here. But I want to tell you, this man has been a friend of mine for almost 30 years. And I was in the Christian Coalition when he came to the House. And he and I have collaborated for almost 3 decades. And I want to tell you, and Senator, I'm not just saying this because you're here to hear it. But I want to tell you something, there is nobody I would rather be in a foxhole with than our next speaker. If you remember those hearings for Brett Kavanaugh when he was nominated to be a member of the Supreme Court, and when Lindsey Graham turned to those Democrats and shamed them for their attempt to smear this man and assassinate his character and destroy his reputation and ruin his career. And Lindsey Graham had the guts to stand up and call it for what it was. And I can tell you that when it comes to being a friend of life, he has carried the late-term abortion ban. He is the chief sponsor in the U.S. Senate, and we have worked with him on that, and we are not going to rest until we get that bill to the floor and we make it the law of the United States. And I will also tell you that the state of Israel does not have a better friend in the United States Senate than Lindsey Graham. I met with him 2 days before the U.S. attack on the Iran nuclear sites. I'm not going to share the substance of that conversation today. But I will tell you that this man has Donald Trump's ear. He is a friend of the president. The president values his friendship. He listens to him.
Yeah.
He doesn't always do what he asks him to. But it is a bond of mutual respect and friendship. He is a friend of this organization. And Senator, we are truly honored to have you back at voting majority. Please welcome the senior senator from the state of South Carolina, Lindsey Graham.
We've been doing this for 30 years. It's showing on me, not so much around. What you do matters. Do you think it matters?
Well, you're right. If you don't think it matters,
You're wrong.
we wouldn't have 6 Supreme Court justices without you. You got to win elections, right? Elections matter.
So speaking of
Trump, we found common ground. We used to have our differences. I ran for president in 2016. If you don't remember that, it's not your fault.
I think I'm the only guy that got a t-shirt out of the whole thing.
Well, when he was over, I finished like 16. You know, he won, and I called him every day, and then he could call him. That's just the way life is involved. And he calls me and says, hey, I'd like to get to know you better. I'd like to work with you. I said, I'm coming. You want me to meet you? Come to the Oval Office. We'll have lunch. I said, I'll be there whenever you tell me. He said, well, let's do this. If you won, I lost, right? And the election's over. Accept your defeat. Think about the team, what's best for the country, not what's best for you. You won. You won in an amazing way. You beat the Clintons, you beat the Bushes, you beat everybody. And I was amazed, and we went over and we had a good time, and we played golf. We played a lot of golf. We found common ground. People asked me what happened with you and Trump. I said, we played a lot of golf. I've come to like him, and he likes him. That's what we got in common. So, I've been trying to help him every way I can. Sometimes we disagree, but I think he's been great. I just think the man is taking full horns. How he gets up there going, I don't know. They try to beat him up and time.
I love and I like Lindsey Graham just because President Trump liked him a lot. And he was crying on TV in one of the interviews when they want to impeach Trump. And when someone, they tried to kill Trump with the bullet when he was on stage. So Lindsey Graham is a very loyal friend for the president.
Common values, common enemies, and this is my foreign policy when it comes to it. God blesses those who bless it. That's my job.
So, real quick with that.
The Supreme Court ruled with it, you heard about that? Yes. 6-3. Now, what did they decide? They decided the state of who? South Carolina. We're first in a lot of ways, sometimes not so good, but this time it's really good. We passed a law that says we're not going to get any money from Medicaid and Planned Parenthood to do abortions.
That's fantastic.
And my brother and state guy, House says that they did it, and when
I was cheering them on, I said, do it, do it, do it. And it went to the Supreme Court pretty quickly. Every liberal went crazy. I filed an amicus brief supporting my state's position.
Ralph and this crowd
Just really is a blessing for a life movement. Without you, I don't know what we can do. And so I just appreciate your advocacy down more. But when all that Supreme Court we won, every judge appointed by Bush and Trump voted to allow states to pay him. Every judge voted to make sure your taxpayer dollars do not go to Planned Parenthood. That's why you call people to make sure they vote. There are going to be people born because of you, right? What better gift can you give to your country than the ability to live? To be brought into this world and achieve your dreams. That's why you knock on doors, and that's why you call. What else has happened in the last week? Israel decided to finally take on the religious Nazis who want to wipe them off the map, and Donald Trump came to their aid.
80 years ago, last month, ended the Nazi regime. The Germans
Started in May of 1945. 8 years later, there is a nation state run by religious Nazis, radical Shia Islamists, who openly call for the destruction of all the Jews in the state of Israel and us, and
we're wondering what we should do.
when they write death to Israel on their missiles in Hebrew,
That's the end. These people are up to no good.
I grew up in South Carolina, I can figure that one out. They're religious
Fanatics.
They desire to purify Islam, take Sunni Saudi Arabia and obliterate it. They say in their constitution, they're the keeper of the faith. They're about 15% of Islam. They're drunk on steroids for religion. Their religion requires them to purify Islam, destroy the state of Israel, come after you, go straight to the devil. You believe they mean what they say? I sure as hell do. Well, they're less able to do it today than they were last week.
What do you do matters? We're in charge. I'm the budget committee chairman.
Now that's odd. I've been one meeting for 20 years, but I'm chairman now. How do you get to be chairman? You outlive everybody to your right. And I'm simple with budget. Trump wants to know, okay.
Everyone who likes President Trump and the Republican Party and what he does for bombing the Iran nuclear facilities and program, stopping this program, please put some likes and hearts.
Without you, I wouldn't be budget chairman. We wouldn't be in charge. Without you, we wouldn't be in charge of the House.
We've had the House and the Senate and the White House 4 times in 100 years. Budget reconciliation is only available if you have the House, the Senate, and the White House. We better take a chance. We better
Do it, right?
while we got power.
Yeah.
Well, let's do it. Let's get it done. So the bottom line is, when they had this, the Democrats, they passed the Obamacare and Inflation Reduction Act. When they have power, they use it. When we have power, we need to use it for the good of the country.
So I'm intent on making sure that every door you
You're not
knock on,
wrong at all.
that we're gonna do something that's gonna work. And that's gonna be by the
4th of July, when we get a big birthday for something like Country Jackson, here your birthday.
Yeah.
If you like President Trump, put some hearts.
There are nuclear weapon enrichment sites, but they're still religious sites. Nothing's changed in this regard. They can't
do it like they used to do it, but they still want to kill everybody that will come after you. We can't let them do it. I don't mind negotiating, but I want to understand who we're negotiating with. So I got one problem here. I don't want to negotiate and let them rearm. I don't want to drag this out. Let's give them a chance, but let's not let them play us. I trust President Trump. But how about this simple idea? Before we negotiate with you about the future, would you be willing to say publicly for the first time ever, as Iranian regime leaders, we recognize Israel's right to exist? For the first time ever, and let me tell you, you can disagree with me, you don't have to like me, but if you want to kill me when it's all over with, what good have I achieved? I'm not going to ask the Israelis to get in a room full of people who killed no matter what they did. So let's get this down up front. And it's happening right now. So if they will not publicly say we've changed the regime's goals, we no longer want to kill all the Jews, we now are willing to live with the Israeli state, the Jewish state, they have a right to exist. If Iran will not say that, that tells you all you need to know. Don't go into the room. God bless you all.
واو، تصريح خطير جدا جدا. وأكيد إيران أو نظام الملالة ما حيعترف بهذا الشيء. This is amazing. So, okay guys, I'm gonna stop for now. Hope I will do some interviews soon and during these 2 days where the conference is gonna be held. So stay in touch. All right. Thank you for watching.
So Nancy Mace became the first woman